Hi, welcome and welcome back. I hope you're doing well. I wanted to devote this video to story time, safe places, and self-care after narcissistic abuse. And I realize that there are people who are of the opinion that, well, healing from narcissistic abuse isn't all about taking baths and this and that and the other. And I totally get that. I wanted to at least address it because I thought, you know what, I have a different take on that. Like, I don't think there's anything wrong with practicing self-care. And actually, it's something that's a big part of my life. I grew up in a dysfunctional household. I know that a lot of you probably have too. And that likely was part of the reason why you tolerated the abuse from the narcissist in your life or narcissists in your life. Growing up, I spent a lot of time being intimidated by my dad, feeling intimidated by my dad, walking on eggshells, trying to kind of walk around and navigate his rage and just the energy, that rageful spirit. And I never knew when he was going to just explode in anger or when he was going to lash out. And it's just not a very good feeling when you're young to have to grow up in an environment like that where you just feel like, okay, let me just hurry up and go do what I need to do, or let me tiptoe over here or tiptoe out the house or tiptoe out of the kitchen or go get what I need really quickly and then go back to my room and close the door, to not have to face that, to not have to deal with that. I could share a lot of stories about my childhood and some of the different examples of my dad just raging at me. I remember one time we were at the dinner table and my parents liked to barbecue, and one of their favorite things to barbecue was ribs, beef ribs. And this obviously was way before I changed my diet and lifestyle, but my parents liked to barbecue. And one night we sat down at the dinner table as a family to eat barbecue. And I was kind of struggling with my ribs. And at one point I stopped. I decided to just put the rib down on the plate, and I took a steak knife and my fork and I started cutting away at the rib and cutting it away from the bone so that I could just eat it that way, because whatever, it was getting messy. I was having a hard time. So I decided to just cut to the chase and get the rib, get the meat off the bone so that I could eat my dinner. Well, my dad lashed out at me at the dining table in front of the whole family and was like, "What are you doing? And pick that rib up. What is wrong with you? And you are not my daughter. You're not even black. Like, you pick the rib up." And I was like, okay. And so I stopped cutting and I picked the rib up and did what I could to get the meat off the bone and finish my dinner. But I felt completely embarrassed. I felt anxious. I mean, my anxiety went through the roof. I'm like, oh shoot, like he's yelling at me. I'm the focus. I'm the target now. And I felt upset. I felt angry. Like, I cannot believe he's yelling at me like this at the table. But I felt intimidated at the same time, and too intimidated to speak up. There was no laughter. Everybody else was kind of like, okay, let's just eat and focus. But I felt, I can't even tell you, like, who does that? Like, who does that? I don't care what race you are. Like, who does that? Like, literally, I'm sitting at the dinner table with my family and I got yelled at dinner for not picking up my rib. Like, I wouldn't even touch what was on my plate now. Then I wouldn't even touch that now with a 10-foot pole. But that's beside the point. The point is, we were sitting down having a family dinner, and this should be a time of sharing and a time of uplifting conversation or sharing good news or positive thoughts. That's what we do at our dinner table nowadays. And we didn't even eat meat, but my dad chose to lash out at me and isolate me or alienate me in front of my family, and no one defended me. It was my turn in the hot seat. It was my turn. It was a horrible feeling. And when I think about it now, I will never forget that. I felt totally unloved. I felt intimidated. I felt anxious. I felt angry because I would have loved to have spoken up, but that never ended well when any of us did it. And there was no like, oh, I'm just kidding. Like he just left it there. Like he literally just yelled at me at the table over something really minor and then just left it there. And I thought, wow, like seriously, it really hurt. It hurt. Like this is my primary male relationship in my life. And this is how he's dealing with me. This is how he's treating me. And it hurt. And it's so interesting because I have worked really hard to create a very different experience for my kids over dinners and in our home. And I'm not saying that I'm perfect, but I think about how when we sit down together, it's positive focus. It's sharing good news. What happened today? Everybody gets a chance to share. If something's bothering us, we get a chance to share. We have an open forum. You know, we at least try not to be overly reactive if maybe something comes up that's not so pleasant, or something shared that's not necessarily positive. We also try to correct that. Like, hey, okay, how can we reframe this? Or what can we do about it solution-wise to turn it into a positive, even though maybe it feels negative or it's a negative situation right now. At any rate, I work really hard with my husband, of course, to create a more positive, uplifting, and open forum for our family. And I've had to really be mindful of, and also hear about and correct some of the things that I learned and that were kind of impressed upon me. And this is where that breaking the generational cycle comes into play. Like, okay, you know, you're being a little reactive here. Okay, I know where that's coming from. At any rate, I remember just kind of quietly absorbing this outburst from my dad that was directed towards me. No one else was getting this. It was directed towards me. And I just remember getting very quiet and just feeling like, wow, like I know that he wasn't literally disowning me. And some of you may have been through that. And I'm so sorry if that's the case. But the point being is that I absorbed this just outburst, this kind of rage-filled, kind of angry outburst. And whatever, you can call it indignation, or some of you may think that that's kind of humorous, like, oh my gosh, that's so funny. Like he basically disowned you and took away your black card because you didn't pick your ribs up with your hands and eat them like this. As a child, and I think I was maybe in junior high or high school at the time, that was not the move. And when you talk about a daddy-daughter relationship and a girl's relationship with her father being her primary relationship in terms of a male, no bueno. Anyway, I absorbed this outburst and I quietly finished my dinner at the table. And I'm not gonna lie to you, when I finished my dinner, I got up, I called my grandmother. This is my mom's mom. I called my grandmother and I let her know that I wanted to come over to her house. And I told my mother, I said, I'm gonna be going to Graham's. And it was interesting because I believe at that time, And many other times this happened, but at the time, my mom begged me not to leave. And I said, oh no, I'm going to Graham's. I'm not staying here. And that happened a lot, to be honest with you. And my point with this, my point with this is that my grandmother provided for me a safe place. And I really miss her. She's deceased, and she actually died probably within a year of me getting married. And I've been married now for almost 25 years. At any rate, Graham, as I referred to her, gave me a safe place to go. And I spent a lot of time retreating to her home in situations like that when I was growing up. And I believe that she literally saved my life by welcoming me into her home and providing me with a safe place. There were a lot of other times like that I could share. I mean, that's kind of one of the relatively lighter examples, but Graham said that I could come to her house. I told her that I wanted to spend the night. I think it was the weekend anyway, and I told her I wanted to stay the night. And my mom was more interested in trying to keep everything together. And so she was like, don't do this, don't leave. And I was like, oh no, I'm leaving. Like, I can't stay here. I don't want to stay here. I'm going to Graham's. And so I think my mom kind of made up some story or something to kind of smooth over the fact that I was basically leaving because of the way that my dad was treating me. And it was in direct response to what had transpired at the dinner table. And so I packed my things, and it was just an overnight. And my mom also tried to control the amount of time that I spent away. So for me, I had to make it count. And I packed my things, and I believe my grandmother came and picked me up and took me to spend the night at her house. And she always had like great snacks, and she always gave me full run of the house. And her boyfriend had a cat and a dog, so I had the opportunity to play with the animals, which I did not have that at home because my mom had really bad allergies and we lived in a small apartment. Anyway, I was always free to sit in the recliner in front of the TV and watch movies or just relax. Sometimes I would bring my homework to study, and I could get stuff done that way because it was quiet, it was peaceful. And Graham would, if she had something cooked, then I could have something to eat or drink. I remember having like cocoa or fixing myself, something to drink or eat. She always had good snacks, and sometimes I would bake when I would go over there and just relax and decompress. And it was kind of an escape for me too, to be honest. And she had a little guest room area, and I could put my bag down and I could use the desk to do work, or I could just relax, rest. I could read books. And my grandmother always had really nice bathrooms, and anywhere she lived, she always had like a really cute bathroom, and it was always clean. And she always had all these different lotions and potions and smelly things, and it smelled so good. And I really enjoyed being able to go in the bathroom and run a bath, put bubble bath in, or some kind of like, I don't know if you remember, like they had these bath pearls that had oil in them, and you could put them in the tub and they would like burst open if the bath was hot enough. And then it would be like this kind of like oil and water. There'd be this oil and water that would be like moisturizing, and then you could kind of rub the oil on your skin. And she had everything. She had all the little accessories and things to create an at-home spa experience. And in addition to that, she kept her makeup in the bathroom too, and she'd have like hot curlers and stuff like that. So I enjoyed going there and going into the bathroom and having access to all these things and being able to just get lost in the bathroom and indulge in these bathing rituals and be able to just moisturize my skin with these different lotions and just all the things. Graham provided me with this like oasis of tranquility and self-care, and I really enjoyed that. And I looked forward to spending time at her home. And when things got really messy in my home, that was where I retreated to. And so for me, you know, taking baths or spending time in the bathroom and practicing self-care and even pampering myself it's so much more than just trying to bathe narcissistic abuse away. And even then, I didn't even know exactly what I was dealing with. But now that I know, it all makes sense, and I can connect the dots and go, okay, I get it now. Over the course of my life, and even to this day, my grandmother, or Graham, has greatly influenced my love for all things bath and spa, bathing rituals, self-care, pampering. I even worked at a spa, a luxury spa at one point as a massage therapist and a receptionist years ago. And that was when I broke away from corporate America. I actually had the opportunity to help open up a spa and work there and be able to, you know, provide experiences and help other people to release muscle tension and relax, or just even listen to them and provide a safe space where they could, you know, take care of themselves or feel taken care of. And even to this day, I'm still in touch with my boss from that time. But the bathroom, even now, is my favorite room in the house. And when I'm out and about, I notice bathrooms. How does it smell? What's the aesthetic? I notice those things. And I also love all things spa even to this day. And even though I don't work in a spa anymore, I'm all about going and booking appointments and being on somebody else's table and receiving treatments. And when I'm not out at a spa, part of my wellness routine is practicing self-care through spa rituals in the bathroom at home. When I come into this space and practice self-care or some kind of self-care ritual, like maybe I'll mix up a mask and run a bath, put some essential oils in there, light my candle and throw the stones in and put on some relaxation music. I have the opportunity to connect with Graham and honor her memory and honor what she taught me about self-care and how she took care of me and gave me a safe place to retreat to when things were chaotic and overwhelming or upsetting to me at home. Practicing self-care, say in the form of bathing rituals or other kinds of pampering or indulgence or spa time, even if it's at home. I certainly love going to spas away from home, but even if it's spa at home, can be a way to access or activate your parasympathetic nervous system and be able to create some balance, create a sense of calm, even in the midst of chaos. And certainly after narcissistic abuse. And for me, that's something that is more than just a frivolous thing. It's really been with me for a long time and has been very much a part of my life and informed who I am today and things that I feel passionate about, and even ways that I've been able to impact other people's lives, like say when I worked at the spa, or just even giving people ideas about how to practice self-care, whether it's my family or even friends or other people who follow me on Instagram. So I just wanted to share that with you to shed a different light on this idea of self-care and, using that as a way to kind of ground, center, or even love yourself after narcissistic abuse. And the bathroom will always be my favorite room in the house. And I feel close to Graham when I come in and practice self-care rituals in this space. Do you have someone who provided a safe space for you after narcissistic abuse that has stayed with you or that you honor even to this day? Comment below and share your story. I'd love to hear. And let me know your thoughts about safe places and self-care after narcissistic abuse and what that looks like for you, or what you envision for yourself as far as that goes. You're not alone and you're not crazy. Know who you're dealing with, know who you are. Take care of yourself, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.